Guys, you got a plan? Can we show you? Help you find what you're looking for?
Yeah, the Ketchikan Duck Tour.
You're with the duck?
Yeah.
He's right back in here. He'll tell you what you're doing.
Okay.
Cody.
Hey guys.
How you doing?
How's it going?
All right.
What can I do for you?
10 a.m. Duck Tour.
Yes, sir. Let me just check this out. Okay, just two of you guys, right? Yep. Perfect. So just meet us back here at 9:45.
Okay.
We're gonna have a sign out there for you, and the duck boat, big white duck boat, parked right there in the parking lot for you.
Okay.
Just go over there, give them your name at 9:45. They'll let you right on.
How you doing? So we're here in Ketchikan, Alaska right now, waiting to take our duck tour excursion.
You got any questions? I'll be.
It's so far, this is a nice little city right here.
4:30 here. 8:05 here.
I like this.
This is
Ketchikan.
Ketchikan. Okay, let me.
Hey, come on, we can go ahead and get on.
Should be ready to load at 1:45.
Okay.
Welcome aboard early.
Thank you.
World War II duck. It is made specifically for what we are doing today. It is foam filled. You can pull the plugs out of it, fill the engine rooms with and it still will not sink. We are regulated by the Department of Transportation because we are a bus, and we are regulated by the United States Coast Guard because we are a boat. That means I am also regulated by both federal agencies. I am a commercial driver and I am a master captain. I've been a master captain since 1993 and a commercial driver since 2013. I am from Panama City Beach, Florida originally, and spent some time in the Marine Corps and moved to Hilton Head Island. I'm a medically retired Marine. Moved to Hilton Head Island 5 years ago, and this is my first time in Alaska. Whose first time in Alaska is it? Nice, nice. You'll love it. Just so you'll know, under every seat, even though it's unsinkable, we are required to carry Coast Guard rated personal flotation devices, and there's one under every seat. There's a ring buoy on the port side near the port side exit.
So what do we need for a rainforest?
Rain.
That's right, rain and jackets. That's very true, very true. So yes, we do get a lot of rain out here in Ketchikan. We are actually the second wettest city in the entire United States, just behind Hilo, Hawaii. So you get a lot of rain out here, so much so that we measure in feet rather than inches. Does anyone want to guess how many feet of rain we get out here per year? That's a good guess. It's actually 12 and a half. Folks, 12 and a half feet of rain every year on average. Just last year we got 14 and a half feet. So you guys picked a good summer to come. That's for sure, that's for sure. Great day as well. Who brought the sunshine, huh? You folks, yeah? Arizona, Florida, California, where are we from? Kentucky, California. Bellingham? Ah, that didn't come with you, huh? Oh, that's awesome. Well, yeah, normally it rains about 233 days out of the year here. So You guys picked a real nice day to show up. That's for sure. That's for sure. Now, Ketchikan is home to 14,000 year-round residents, and only 8,000 of which live within our city limits out here. But our population can double or sometimes even triple with all of our lovely cruise ships coming in. That's right, folks. You guys often overwhelm the general population out here. Pretty crazy. Alright, folks, coming up on our right, we have this large bronze statue. So this is called The Rock by artist Dave Rubin. And it is made entirely of bronze. And it depicts the many different peoples of Alaska. So we've got our bush pilots, prospectors, loggers, fishermen, the working women, and the native Alaskans here in Alaska. Pretty cool. Great spot for a photo op. It's built in 2010. Alright, folks, does anyone here know how many glaciers we have throughout the state of Alaska? 27,000? That's really good. It's actually 100,000. We have 100,000 throughout the entire state of Alaska. Pretty cool. Does anyone know how many volcanoes they have out here? Any guesses? It's actually 130. We have 130 throughout the state of Alaska. Alright, folks, now we do have a lot of lovely shops through here, but I'd like to shout out one of our local stores. So over here you can see Jay's Gold Rush. Now Jay is a friend of the duck, will be opening here soon. And if you guys want to go to his store after the tour here, tell him that you rode my duck, he'll give you a free duck charm, as well as a 10% discount off of everything in his store. Real sweet guy, be sure to pay him a visit. Alright, folks, we will now be turning on to Spruce Mill Way. Any guesses as to why we call it Spruce Mill Way? That's right, folks. This is the site of the old spruce mill, back when logging was Ketchikan's biggest industry. But since then, times have changed. Does anyone know what our biggest industry is now? Fish. Tourism, that's right, you guys! Woo! You guys are now our biggest industry, with fishing being our second. Alright, folks, everyone look to our left. We've got Ella in our quack shack. She's our local quack dealer. It's got all sorts of fun duck merch, as well as a free postcard if you want to visit her after the tour. Super sweet gal. Alright, folks, coming up on our right, you can see the Great Alaskan Lumberjack Show. Now, this is over the actual site of the old spruce mill. Now, nowadays they have events there such as log rolling, pole climbing, and speed chopping. A lot of folks like to go to watch these events, but personally I just like to watch the lumberjacks. Alright. Over to our right here, you can see our local fire department. Any guesses as to what makes this building so unique? Well, I'll tell you. So, has anyone here ever seen a government-funded building that was completed both on time and under budget? Well, now you have! Woo! We get stuff done out here in Ketchikan. Something fun about our fire department is they actually have a vending machine inside that dispenses t-shirts. Pretty cool attraction. Over to our right, as we cross the street here, is our whale park. Now, it's called Whale Park because from an aerial view, it's in the shape of a whale. Pretty fascinating. Now, over to our left, you can see St. John's Episcopal Chapel. Now, this chapel marks the original tide line of Ketchikan, meaning that we are now just arriving on dry land. Everything built up in front of the church is built up on pilings over the water. So locals used to be able to row their boats right up to the church doors. Pretty crazy. Alright, folks, over to our right, you can see the Tongass History Museum. Now, this contains the history and culture of Ketchikan dating back over 100 years. Pretty cool spot for all you history buffs. Alright, folks, how many of us have been to New York? Oh, wow, alright. How about Park Avenue? Okay, quite a few. Well, here's a treat. We are now turning on to Ketchikan's very own Park Ave. Woo! Hope it matches the hype. Now, over to our left, you'll see Grant Street Trestle. So this is one of Ketchikan's few remaining wooden streets. Built back in 1908, it included a railway for transporting logs down to the old spruce mill. Since then, it's been converted into a pedestrian walkway and has since been designated as historical property by Ketchikan's very own historian out of the trash? Blue, that's a great guess. It's actually dirty diapers. Ew. Gonna say they don't like to be pampered. Now when residents move into Bear Valley, the city issues them 3 items. A bear-proof trash can, a bear whistle, and bear spray. Now out here in Ketchikan, we only ever see black bears. But throughout the rest of the last video, you have an opportunity to see some brown bears as well. Now a great way to tell the difference between these 2 bears is actually through their scat. So in a black bear's droppings, you're likely to find berries, salmon, dirty diapers, that sort of thing. But in a brown bear's droppings, you're much more likely to find bear whistles and the scent of bear spray. Important distinction there, folks. Important distinction. Alright, so does anyone here know how many lakes we have throughout the state of Alaska? A lot? That's the right answer. Yes, we actually have 3 million. 3 million lakes. And in order to be considered a lake, it's got to be over 5 acres. So everything under that is not included in that number. Alright, folks, who here has a lifelong dream of becoming a tugboat captain? What, all of you? That's crazy! Well, first you gotta get a CDL, gotta be able to have a driver's license that allows you to drive commercial vehicle, passenger carrying vehicles. And then second, you gotta have a captain's license. So you all are just in luck. Over to our left right here, we've got our Maritime Training Center. Now this is a branch of the University of Alaska Southeast. It is a great place to receive many different maritime certifications, including a captain's license. So for all of us that want to be like Captain Kurt right here, that is a great place to start. Alright folks, now how many sports fans do we have in the house? Okay, quite a few. Are we all watching the World Cup? That sort of thing? Yeah? How about baseball fans? Do you have any baseball fans? Brilliant. Well, we are coming up on the site of Ketchikan's original baseball field. That's right, folks. Thomas Basin Harbor. Now, the players used to play until the tide hit their ankles. Our last game was played 100 years ago when the mudflats were dredged away to create our beautiful harbor. Alright, folks, we've made it to the end of Married Man's Trail. That's right, Creek Street. Back in its operation, there were 26 brothels operating through this area. Now we will be coming to a complete stop, so you folks are going to be welcome to stand as you would like. Now I'd like us to focus on this mint green house on the corner there. Can y'all tell me what that says? Dolly's. Dolly's, that's right folks, Dolly's. Now Dolly moved here in 1919 and she bought that house right there for a whopping $800. That was a lot of money back then, and Dolly was determined to pay off that mortgage as soon as she could. So she charged 50 cents to wash the mud off her boots for Married Man's Trail, another 50 cents for a watered down shot of whiskey, and $3 for her other services. For all my kiddos here, that means milk and cookies, alright? Now how long do you folks think it took Dolly to pay off that house? A year? Pretty close. It's actually 2 weeks. 2 weeks, folks. Now that's a lot of whiskey. Alright? It's a lot of whiskey. Now in 1953, the government came to Dolly and they said, Dolly, we can't have you running this operation anymore. You gotta shut it down. But Dolly really wanted to have her going out of business still. Now they said, Dolly, why would we ever let you do that? Just shut it down now. But Dolly was a very smart woman. She kept a little black book that contained all the names of every man that had ever darkened her doorstep. And she leveraged that into having her closing out sale. 3 glorious weeks of exotic bargains. Now this was Dolly. I'll be passing this around for y'all to read. Now this was also during the era of Prohibition. So a lot of the houses through here actually have trapdoors underneath. So men would take Canadian whiskey stashed in Whiskey Cove on Pennock Island, and when the tide was right, they would smuggle it up through these trapdoors out here. Now a lot of men would also use these trapdoors to avoid being seen on Married Man's Trail. They say back in those days, more men came up the river to spawn than salmon. Alright folks, up in front of us we have our federal building. Can y'all tell me what color that is? Pink? Not quite. It's salmon, folks. Always salmon out here in Ketchikan. Now that post office, now that federal building used to be our post office as well as a jail. Pretty cool. Alright. Do I have any questions so far? I haven't talked a lot. Oh, perfect. You guys are easy. Nice to me. Out here we are known as the Tropics of Alaska. It actually doesn't get as cold out here as it does throughout the rest of northern Alaska. So to put that into perspective, the lowest temperature ever recorded anywhere in Alaska was negative 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Whereas out here in Ketchikan, we've only ever hit negative 7. So it is a little nicer, a little more breezy. We are far enough south that it does stay nice and pretty sunny. Alright, folks. Coming up on our right, you'll be able to see Chief Johnson Totem. Now this is the tallest totem in all of Ketchikan. It was actually put up by hand. Pretty cool. Speaking of totems, we are now coming back up on our whale park. In fact, that totem up there marks the eye of the whale. Now there's a legend surrounding this totem, as at the base of the totem is a bear. Now legend has it that if you rub the belly of the bear, you'll get splinters. Just kidding. Legend actually has it that if you rub the belly of the bear, money will pass through your hands within 24 hours. But it doesn't say which way that money's going. So be careful, folks. Alright. Any other questions, comments, concerns, catastrophes? Perfect, perfect. Well, we will have a good photo opportunity coming up. We're going to be able to see our city sign. I saw a lot of you trying to snag that photo on our way down, but we're going to be passing it again. You'll be able to see it on your right side. So it's a good opportunity to get a photo from this lovely elevated surface. Since it is sunny out, you'll be able to see the snow-capped peaks in the background. You normally don't get to see those. Normally pretty cloudy, pretty foggy out here. So yeah, if you would like a photo of that, I would recommend having your cameras ready. We'll be passing that city sign right here. Now for those of us paying attention, you may have noticed that sign right there says that we are the salmon capital of the world. And that's true. Ketchikan exports more salmon than anywhere else in the world, although Juneau likes to compete. But in order to be the salmon capital of the world, you gotta have the sign that says it. Alright folks, we are now moving slowly but surely towards our world famous tunnel. Now we have a long-standing duck road tradition of making as much noise as we possibly can as we go through this tunnel up here. So I want to hear from all of you in 3, 2, 1. Some power at the end there. That's alright, that's alright. Well, that was a great showing, folks. Now that tunnel is world famous for being one of the only tunnels that you can walk around, drive around, walk on top of, drive on top of, live on top of, walk through, drive through, and row under in a boat. I'd like us all to say that 5 times fast. That's alright, that's alright. But like I said, you can row under that in a boat, meaning that we are currently on pilings built up over the water right now. Pretty cool. You can kind of see these pilings over under these docks as well as between some of the buildings through here. Kind of cool to see.
Over there and go check on her. Make sure she's okay.
Alright folks, safety first. Do we all have our seatbelts on? Oh, I got a lot of you. Yeah, no, we don't have seatbelts out here. Alright, we will be headed into the water. Woo! You scared? Alright, folks, so we made it into the harbor! Woo! Alright, now since we are in the harbor, you guys are free to stand in your own general vicinity, get some good photos, that sort of thing, okay? Now as we move to the harbor, we do have the opportunity to see a handful of our commercial fishing vessels. Hopefully we'll be able to see some around here. Alright, so our first one's going to be the Sultan right here. It's got those two poles on the outside, so that's what makes it a troller. So those poles are called outriggers. When a troller is fishing, those will pull to a 45-degree angle. Now they let down a cable on either side with a weight at the bottom, and the fishermen will attach lures and hooks every 10 feet or so of cable. Alright? Then the boat will slowly start to move forward, so it's known as trolling, hence the name troller. Now our trollers fish for king salmon exclusively, so they really like king salmon and that high quality fish. Very cool. Over here we have some purse seiners. So the Patty Lynn right there is a purse seiner. It's got that large hydraulic pulley system suspended over the back deck, as well as that small metal boat, that skiff right there, that's used to pull the net around a school of fish. Well, a large hydraulic pulley system will pull that net shut like a trap or like a purse, hence the name purse seiner, and pull that catch on board. These are two of our commercial fishing vessels. Got another one of our purse seiners right here. Cool to see. That was a great sighting on our breakwater right here. So this rock formation is called a breakwater. It's called that because it breaks the water. That's right, folks. So it protects the boats in the dock and the harbor from any rough winds, rogue waves, that sort of thing. Duck boat. Woo! Always fun. Alright folks, as we turn you can see our Deer Mountain peak. So it's that Hershey kiss shaped peak right there. That's the tallest peak in all of Ketchikan. It's called Deer Mountain. It has an elevation of 3,000 feet. That makes it the highest peak in all of Ketchikan. Pretty cool. Takes the experienced hiker about 2.5 to 3 hours to complete that. I don't know how experienced, because it took me 4, so do with that what you will. Now the locals like to use Deer Mountain to determine the weather. So if you can't see Deer Mountain, it's raining. And if you can see it, it's gonna rain. Thank you, folks. Thank you. Okay, do we all see this white windowless building up on the hill here? Any guesses as to what that is? Jail? So close. That's actually Ketchikan High School. There we go. There we go. And I promise that it does have windows. They're just on the other side. So we do get a lot of heavy wind through here. So we just make for a very noisy learning environment. Yes, it is. Alright folks, we also see this Northern Bank right here. This actually used to be our old